Now we're over at the Alinea Insight newsletter on Substack, and this article caught my eye in particular because we reported on last week's podcast that Jez Corden had basically said that a reliable source inside PlayStation had told him that PlayStation is now moving back from putting all their big, AAA tentpole games onto PC and Steam. In particular, this might be a response to the new Xbox PC console, which should be coming out in the future, and the Xbox PC handhelds. They're basically PCs, so they can run these games. And also the new Steam machine, which has been announced, which we spoke about on last week's episode. It's probably a bit of a direct threat to Sony if their key assets and key games, which are system sellers, are available on all these other systems. People might just go, oh, what's the point of buying a PlayStation then? I'll just get a Steam machine or an Xbox ROG Ally X series handheld and use that instead of a PlayStation. So this does make sense to me. However, the figures here are interesting. The top PlayStation Studios Steam games by copies sold. So Helldivers sold 12.7 million copies. Helldivers 2, that is. Horizon Zero Dawn, 4.5 million. God of War, 4.2 million. Days Gone, 3.4. And Spider-Man, only 2.7, surprisingly. And the gross revenue is 1.5 billion and a total of 43 million overall copies sold for PlayStation Studio games on Steam. Rice goes on to note that PlayStation has been steadily reducing the gap between PS5 launches and Steam ports as a logical way to raise overall revenue without disrupting its console business too much. And he says live service games will typically be simultaneously launched on PlayStation and Steam. However, he also calls out what we mentioned about the Steam machine, as the imminent arrival of the Steam machine complicates this balance. Until now, PlayStation has treated Steam as a secondary channel with longer delays for single-player first-party titles. If Steam begins to function as a competing ecosystem with its own dedicated hardware that plays PlayStation titles, the relationship changes. PlayStation may soon face pressure to rethink its timing and release strategy as Steam evolves from a distribution platform into a rival platform with broader reach and fewer constraints. Will PlayStation rage against the Steam machine? Let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, these numbers, this 1.5 billion, it's not actually massive figures when you compare it overall to the money that Sony brings in each year. So I'm not sure if they would be too worried about this. I think, you can see there as well, the big seller has been Helldivers 2. It's not been the single player games, which I would say are the system sellers for PlayStation. Removing them out of the equation and keeping the live service games coming day and date onto PC and Steam would make sense for PlayStation to help alleviate this potential threat from the Steam machines and the new Xbox PCs. The only one we know they've got in the works is Marathon. How's that going to do? When I saw the state of play they did for it, I wasn't too hopeful. I thought this is going to be another Concord. Only time will tell. So will Sony be willing to sacrifice this 1.5 billion in gross revenue on Steam? Given that in Q1 2025 alone, Sony's PlayStation division brought in 11.4 billion, fueled by game sales and digital services. So over the course of the year, they're making like 40 odd billion. Is this a sacrifice they're willing to make? I think they might be, to protect their brand and PlayStation's value as a device that people want to buy and own. You've just got to look across the road at Nintendo. That's how they've been doing it. They have got a big wall around their garden. If you want to play Nintendo exclusives, you need a Switch or Switch 2. That's the only way you've got of playing them. I think Sony's seeing that success and thinking we need to do a little bit more of that ourselves.